Among his some books are Studying Islam in the Arab World, The Rupture Between Religion and Social Sciences, Knowledge Production in the Arab World. So I'm happy that I have read some of his books and some of the chapters from these books. And it's a personal pleasure for me to be moderating your session tonight. So we are going to, as usual, listen to our professor for 40 to 50 minutes, and then at the end, we are going to have a question and answer session. You can, the participants, you can, write your questions to the chat bar to the Afrika Vakfı, and then we will collect all the questions and then direct to our guest. So, Professor, thank you again very much for joining us. Happy to be with you, and the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Yusuf. Hello, everyone. I'm glad to be with you. So I will share my PowerPoint. Okay. Okay. So let me go quickly into today. I will entitle my presentation as govern the ungovernable power structures and network in the Palestinian refugee camps. So, from very beginning, let me say that refugee camps historically, it's really very important when we have emergency refugees. What I mean by emergency refugees, it means that refugees suddenly come in a wave that we need host society need to organize them. So the best way is to put them in the camps where humanitarian organization can intervene. But then when this exile become protracted, you need really to manage these camps to become an urban space. If you like, I would not use the word normal urban space, but a human, let's say a human urban space. So if you like, here where we have the paradox, I mean, what the meaning of having a camp, a slummy camp for, if you like, who would last for 4 generations. Now we have 4 generations of people have lived in refugee camps, Palestinian refugee camps in in Jordan, Lebanon, Syria, but also in West Bank and Gaza. Remember that there is a refugee camp there. So, it is transient space, but for really protracted refugees. This is why sometimes we reach a point that the camps become ungovernable. And like, for instance, the Yarmouk camp in Syria, in Damascus, during the Syrian revolution. So for me, from the very beginning, I should argue that I'm not interested in who is the leader of the camp, the leader with the, but more about the governance. Governance in a Foucaultian meaning, it means that you have a spreading of what Michel Foucault called microphysics of power, that there is a different network of governance, of leaders, if you like. So this is so today I will really look to a relationship between power, sovereignty, and space by examining modes of governance inside the camps. So mode of governance, let me put it clear, is how a camp is managed in terms of relationships to the legal authorities of the host countries and to the surrounding municipalities, relationship among groups within the camps, conflict resolution for everyday problem, etc. So in nutshell, I would say refugee camps, at least where I will talk, the focus today will be about Lebanon. It's about the informality of governance of these refugee camps. So the actors of camp governance vary from country to country, from Syria to Jordan to West Bank or Gaza Strip or Lebanon. If you like, often, except on Lebanon, and if you like, leading authorities is often very related to political, the main political actors, or to the state actors, political actors in the host society, except in Lebanon. We will come to that in a few minutes. So, so you have leading authorities, but you have secondary leading authority. You have what I called phantom authorities. I will come to it. But also Islamic governmentality, in a meaning that really you have a Islamist movement that working the governmentality from below and not from above. And of course, other tribal family, extended family network that you find it in a different degrees in a different camps. So, so if you like, it's a very interesting that even in one, when you have an authority, one authority, Palestinian National Authority in West Bank and Gaza, that you don't have the same refugee camp system. So, for instance, in Gaza, the PNA form municipal council, which is elected for the camps outside of the city, like in the middle of Gaza, Bridge, or Al-Maghazi or Nsirat. This allowed them to have master plans and a contemporary municipal regulation and facilities. While the camps in West Bank, there is no elected body to govern this, the camps in West Bank. So let me come quickly to the case of Lebanon, because really I want to put the focus on it. If you like, the threshold of change and talk a lot about the government, about the governance of refugee camps come after Fatah al-Islam take over Nahr al-Barid camp, and it ended up, unfortunately, by the destruction of the camps by Lebanese army. And then it was a meeting in Vienna which produced a document calling for a solution for the misery of Palestinian refugee camps in Lebanon. So this document, I mean, if I take one aspect of it, is a new model. They call for new model for camp governance based exclusively on principle of internal security forces, ISF, the Lebanese one, control and surveillance, without addressing the genuine problems of the camps. So this is, if you like, what the Vienna document proposed. So suddenly, so my reading to the Vienna document, and I was in that time, we are talking, of course, in around 2007. I was extremely active in that time, very eloquent, critical of what is going on, and about the Palestinian refugees in Lebanon. So, so my main observation that the governance has been reduced to security, question of security. You have, of course, in each refugee camps popular committee, but you have two popular committee. I will talk about them extensively, and they are not elected. They are appointed by Palestinian factions, and they are completely delegitimized by completely, not completely actually, but really heavily delegitimized by the population. Why? Because there is no recognition, neither from Lebanese government nor from elected by Palestinian population in the camps. So sovereignty requires sovereign and subject, but we will see that actually who are the subject in refugee camps? They don't have really status. They are not fully refugees because they are the Lebanon didn't apply the 1950 convention, UN Convention for Refugees, and they are not fully foreigner because they have some advantage that the foreigner have, and the foreigners have some advantage that Palestinian refugees don't have. For instance, the Palestinian refugees, they don't have the right to own properties in Lebanon, while the Lebanese have, any nationality have such right. So this is why I advanced long time ago to talk about camps as a space of exception, taking, if you like, some theoretical element from Giorgio Agamben, the Italian philosopher. So dwellers are excluded from the sphere of the city, while at the same time included with respect of security and taxes. Palestinian, of course, pay taxes. Two registers, so you have the political and the legal, and again, I will explain this in details later on. So if you like, I would argue that there is 4 models of governing spaces like refugee camps. Exclusion or control and surveillance, top-down approach, or Porto Alegre municipal model. Let me explain each of these models. So refugee camps in Lebanon, really, they are very slummy camps. If you like, just give you an example. A team of public health in my university, American University of Beirut, they did extensive work on public health issues, including blood pressures, including well-being, some medical aspect, and so on. And they realized that Nahr al-Barid camp is the most precarious situation in the whole Lebanon. So if you like, Lebanon function like, if you like, fortress archipelagos, okay, and island of civilized islands, and then enclaves. Enclaves is like prisons where we put undesirable people. So this enclaves is refugee camps, is Bab al-Tabbani in Tripoli, Jabal Muhsin in Tripoli. So unfortunately, this is how the situation in Lebanon. The right-wing neoliberal Lebanese political party leaders and Lebanese security and military agencies enclave undesirable group and confine them into space of exception. As you notice, when I say right-wing, I didn't say Christian right-wing, because it's not true only the Christian. I mean, the Sunni, even the Shia, they treat the Palestinian in the same way. Don't ever believe that Hezbollah, who really has a genuine agenda of liberating Jerusalem, that has any human agenda for this horrible refugee camps in Lebanon, unfortunately. So this is why I use this expression. There is an art of inclusive exclusion. They are excluded from rights while being included in the lawmaking. So they enjoy neither the civil rights of Lebanese upon whose territory they reside, nor those of foreigner living in Lebanon, no right to work or to own a property. I am myself Palestinian, but I work at EUB as a French because I have French nationality. Imagine, but if I was born in Lebanon and for second generation Palestinian, it will be very difficult for my university to employ me. So is informality the way of states exclusion or refugee agency inclusion? What are the meaning of informality when we don't have a social rights, social citizenship for 2/3 of centuries? Is informality a project of separation of the camps, slum from the city, or informality in a way actors force the right to city? So if you like, for me, here I reply to some of the urbanists who say, look, camps are capable of being governed, but by informality. You should not should also focus on formal mode of governance. Of course, I'm very Foucaultian on looking to governance, but I don't see the informality as something serve the well-being of the Palestinian refugees in Lebanon. So informality creates more agency in the camps versus agency of the camps. So this is what, again, I will explain in a few seconds. So in Palestinian refugee camps in Lebanon, you have a multiple and partial sovereignties. This is what I say. The camps in 1948 was controlled by the military intelligence of the Lebanese army. And in 1948, and until today is the same. And this military army, they control actually those who become a leader in the camps. So popular committees, as I said, is appointed by Palestinian refugee, Palestinian factions, Fatah, FVLP, Popular Front, the Democratic Front, etc., etc. And Hamas, of course, but Hamas, until today, it was one. I forgot to say, in each camps you have two popular committees. One is close to PLO, Palestinian Liberation Organization, but another is close to pro-Syria regime, pro-Syrian regime, As-Sa'iqa, and sometimes Hamas was allied with the second popular committee, and sometimes they found them so much corrupted, so they distanciate themselves from them. Of course, Palestinian factions, Al-Fasa'il Palestinian, still also have a say in the camps. But what for me is interesting is the UNRWA, because if any one of you go to refugee camps, you will find in Arabic in the UNRWA office, you will find one room called, if you like, room of the camp director. In Arabic, Mudir al-Mukhayyam. But in English, it is camp program officer. So in English, it looks like it's not a director of the camps, while in Arabic it is. And when I talk with one of what's her name, she was a high commissioner of UNRWA a few years ago. I forgot her name. American. It will come. When I was telling her this while I was living in Ramallah, the head of Palestinian refugee center for Palestinian refugees and diaspora, Shamil. When I told her that it's written director, camp director, she didn't believe me, and I took her to a camp near of Ramallah, and I show her how it's written, and she took a picture. And in that case, so actually, I wanted to say that UNRWA is there when there is no comparison work. But when there is problem, you say no, we are not governing the camps. But in fact, I think historically the director of camp director or UNRWA camp director is a very powerful actors in the camps. Of course, you have other actors like NGOs, but also religious notability, informal youth movement, but they really not sometimes, especially the NGOs, they are not interested of any headache of governance. So they do intervention in specific actions in health. For instance, they run a clinic, they run schools, kindergarten, that's it. But they are not interested in looking to play a role in the governance of the camps. So if you like, in a nutshell, the situation for a long time of Palestinian refugee camps in Lebanon, I can summarize it as the following. So you have from one side, they tried Lebanese governance. Let me see if I have a pointer. I think I have a pointer. Where is the pointer? Pointer. No, I don't. Pointer option. Yes. Okay. Okay. Yes. So, so from one side here you have inclusion of population, the refugees, but in the other side is exclusion and separation from Lebanese population and segregation. So the camps is caught between this inclusion of Palestinians, pushed by Palestinian governmentality. The Palestinians try to be included in Lebanon, the UNRWA as a phantom authorities, but the force of the exclusion is if you like, Lebanese army, biopolitics, surveillance, etc., that really play a major role in exclusion of the camps as an urban space. And the camps is really become like a closed camps. And of course, how if you like, how the mechanism of mediating between this inclusion and exclusion is a state of exception. The camps is become, every time we want to advance some benefit for population, we say, no, it's not. For instance, there is a good law about, I don't know, about trash, how to collect the trash. And then when the camps will benefit, say, no, not for the camps. It's an exceptional place and something like that. Look, this is why if you read the book of Michel Foucault, Surveillance and Punishment, I'm not sure the title is like this. I read it in French, Surveiller et punir, where he started by showing us two form of governmentalities of leprosy colonies, where people who have jarab, marad al-jarab, leprosy, they put them in a place and they close this place and they tell them, you stay there until you die. So I would say the camps before Nahr al-Barid crisis was really, it's like this. It's a kind of leprosy colonies conceived by Lebanese government. And of course, this system exploded. Okay, and Vienna document come to say, look, I mean, now we want the camps as to improve the governmentality of the camps. So let's and it become like plague colony. So so in the Middle Age in Europe, in the plague colony, we uh, 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 let me go back. In leprosy, you have a wall, people inside of a colony, and we throw to them just food. And they are not allowed to go back to get out of the colony. In the plague colony, also you cannot get out, but there is somebody will come to your home, give you food, give you medicine. So we will treat some people affected, while those who become normal, we say, and helping their relatives who affected by the plague, الطاعون يعني, they will so if you like, it is a compartmentalized governance. I mean, more improved, but nevertheless, I would say this doesn't change a lot. From one side, Lebanon has a new discourse of say, we need our sovereignty to be over all our territories, including refugee camps. But in fact, if you want to include the camps as a part of the sovereign territories, why not? But who are those who are in the camps? They have the right to know who are they. If you like, you cannot say, I will apply Lebanese law while you don't allow them to open a shop for a grocery, or to open a barber, or to open any shop. And so become all the activities in the camps, all economic activity in the camp, illegal, if you like. This is a new discourse of sovereign power, and in fact, in the end of the day, the military intelligence, Lebanese ISF, internal security forces, kept really the same mentality of and end up forcing this exclusion and separation and segregation. So if you like, a skewed bureaucratic apparatus that operates not through rationalized rules, but rather through miraculous interventions, and whose unpredictability is the key to its effectiveness. This, of course, this system is exploding. So, in fact, the situation today, after almost 20 years from Nahr al-Bardi crisis, is remained the same. So let me summarize what I said. Foucault invokes two modalities of power have risen between the 17th and the end of 19th century, from the treatment of leper and the treatment of plague. The leprosy was treated by the logic of segregation, exclusion, and great confinement. The leper was transformed, deported, locked away, rendered invisible through exile, exclusion, left to his death in a mass among which it was useless to differentiate. On the other side, the plague set off a new form of response based on spatial partitioning. I mean, multiple separations and individualized distributions. Quarters, streets, and housing are under close surveillance and control. Each resident must report in the windows to the count call of the guards. So this is how it operates, this plague colonies. So refugee camps treated according to the principle of space under surveillance after being treated as a space of exception and exclusion, where closure reigns, but now it is a space as a whole, which is ordered, divided, and managed. The new governance model, which based on only policing the camps, is a way of treating the camps like Blake's stricken city in the Middle Age. A new model of governance is a way of moving from liberal-stricken city where the affected should be invisible to the hyper-visible by the new technique where everyone is a potential suspect that will be registered when they enter the camps and surveilled inside the camps. So if you like, this is the mode of governance based on an exclusion or on compartmentalized situation. Now, I will go to the third model. I call it top-down model, which is known by UNHCR. Use it a lot in refugee camps in Africa. So before 90s, UNHCR, so United Nations Higher Commission for Refugees, sorry. UNHCR plays a very ambiguous role in terms of promoting or diminishing the influence of the notable in the camps. Since 90s, UNHCR was convinced that governing the camps requires local participation. UNHCR was more systematic, promoting some community participation and organizing election. And it was very efficient. There is a lot of report praising what UNHCR did. Of course, I kept in many years ago looking for me the best is Porto Alegre participatory models. It's called also participatory budget participatory mode of governance. It means that you involve the population in how to distribute money. You know, I attended so many meetings where between the UNRWA staff, the country director, and the Palestinian refugees who ask for everything. I mean, better health, better schools, better hardship or social services, etc., etc. And of course, when the meeting end, the country director always complains, say, from where we get the money? I told them, why you don't involve the refugees? You tell them we have $2 million per year. Do you want, if you want more better health, maybe we need to have not a good schools this year, and etc. So this is, if you like, it's a very famous participatory model established in Porto Alegre municipality in Brazil. And then, today, or not today, if you like, 10 years ago, it was around 5,000 municipalities in the world where they use this participatory model of Porto Alegre, including in the United States. So unfortunately, UNRWA has kept its ear deaf to my call, and etc. Of course, I asked for Porto Alegre participatory model for my university, American University of Beirut, to do it also, how to govern a university. Okay, let me stop here because really I'm eager to hear your if you like comments on what I said, your questions, etc. And of course, I went quite quickly, and some of element that I can go and explain better if you ask me about that.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor, for this great lecture. So we can switch to the Q&A session. Also, as the professor has just said, you can also share your comments, your thoughts on the topic. So the first question, it basically addresses, you know, how the things are handled within the camps, because it says the refugee camps consist of limited areas. So they are big, but they're not as big as cities. So when any kind of problem erupts within those camps, are they being addressed internally, or how does the system work basically?
Well, refugee camps, Yusuf, is really a place. I'm talking about Lebanon, if you like, because it's very interesting. When I was in West Bank, I mean, we have a study. All those who become middle class among Palestinian refugees, they leave the camps because it's no air in the camps, no sun. I mean, it's so crowded. I mean, you become very claustrophobic. I should have show you some pictures about what the meaning of living in a slummy area. So everything is handled in ad hoc basis. For instance, you need a bomb for the sewage system. This bomb from time to time is broken, so the camps become with a smell unbelievable. So then some NGOs will go and help popular committees to fundraise, to have $2,000 from here to $2,000 from there. By the way, the PLO office in Lebanon, they provide as a lump sum for monthly lump sum to each refugee camps, but this lump sum is really small. Is very difficult to handle problems related to electricity, to infrastructure, if you like, the basic infrastructure, water, trash collection, garbage collection, etc. So everything is done in ad hoc basis. If you like, in a municipality, you have participation of the population. You have the state who help the municipality, the locality, and you end up having a livable locality, if you like. The problem in Lebanon is really you don't have this help. Look, let me give you this anecdote. In 2008 or 9, I forgot, the late Siam, I forgot his first name. He was Hamas Minister of Foreign Affairs. So he left Gaza by tunnel to Cairo, and from Cairo come to Lebanon to, if you like, to make a speech. He was invited in Lebanon by an organization who collect material things, food, etc., for flotilla, which supposed to go from Beirut to Gaza. And the Siam, after spending a few days in Lebanon, I saw him in a private sitting in last day of his stay, and he clearly said, I was shocked by the situation of refugee camps in Lebanon, and really he was cynical at that time to say to one of the Lebanese organizer of Flotilla, why you don't give all this food and to Palestinian refugee camp in Lebanon? No need to bring it to Gaza. So our situation in Gaza is much better than in Lebanon. So if you like, this is the situation in Palestinian refugee camp in Gaza, in Lebanon.
Okay, thank you very much. And I think, unfortunately, this situation was not different in Jordan, because I have visited some of the Palestinian refugee camps in Jordan, and I have also visited the Palestinian cities in the occupied West Bank. So maybe a comparison is not fair, but still, uh, the people in the West Bank had more opportunities like education or civil activities, like even garbage collection can be a huge problem. And then, like in Jordan, it was a major problem because, when you don't have the sewage system and then the, garbage distribution system, etc., then you have the health problems. So I want to go to the next question, which is about UNRWA or UNRWA. How is the authority managed or distributed within a camp, refugee camp, between UNRWA and political factions and Lebanese government? So how is the system really working out there?
Well, UNRWA is really extremely important organization. I mean, without it, the Palestinian would not have been empowered in education, in getting in health. So again, in a country like Lebanon, where the Palestinian, they don't have access to Lebanese schools, to Lebanese universities, to Lebanese hospitals, become extremely important. UNRWA has its own schools, clinics, and offer this almost for free for the Palestinian refugees. So so camps, if you like, UNRWA as a service provider, they are really good. But this is the point, that in fact governing the camps is not about only providing service. It's a community. You need to play a role. You need to facilitate. You need to push for election, if you like. So they don't want any headache. Exactly. I mean, this is a word that I hear it in my interviews almost thousand a time. I mean, say it's a lot of headache. I mean, okay, and this is what I am criticizing. This is why I use the word phantom sovereign. They are there and they are not there, if you like.
Okay, thank you. And there's a quick, like a follow-up question. It says, how do you see UNRWA's capabilities and tasks to meet the expectations or necessities within the camps?
First of all, UNRWA should know that in its duty to protect the Palestinian refugees. Protection, like UNHCR. UNHCR has a protection of refugees in the place where they operate. UNRWA mandate on protection is very weak. And once we accept that there is it should be a mandate of protection, and if you like, the mandate of protection is a must because it's really it's inherent part of Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Is to protect vulnerable people is inherent part of the Refugee Convention. So if we accept that UNRWA has this protection mandate, it means that it should protect Palestinians from any discriminatory law in whole society. In Lebanon, there is a law where allow or any nationality to own properties except the Palestinians. And this has a heavy consequences. I grew up in a Yarmouk camp in Syria. In Yarmouk camp, every time people get first of all, we are treated like Syrian citizens. It means that we enter university, we go to the school, we have we really treated like Syrian nationals. So it empower us and it allow us to construct a new housing inside of the refugee camps and outside of the refugee camps. The poverty rate in the Palestinian refugee camps it's almost 72%. The last statistics, and this is if you like the abject poverty. If you inside of refugee camp, I am not talking about the whole Palestinian refugee community. So this is why I think UNRWA should raise the voice very high that against any discriminatory law against the Palestinians. In Lebanon, you can be graduated from any university and civil engineers, electric engineers, but the Lebanese union order of engineers will not allow you to exercise this profession. So and so on, nurse the same, and so on. So this is why you end up rely heavily on UNRWA. So instead of UNRWA keep only its mandate as a service provider, why not working and lobbying for putting pressure on host countries that they need to normalize the Palestinian refugee situation. And when I say normalize it, not necessarily to give them nationality like in the case of Jordan, but at least give them the right of being refugees, if you like. I mean, it means that providing them with the right to work, to own a property, and things like that.
Okay, thank you. And there's a question indeed related to this. It says, based on your observations and academic experience, given the governance problems in the refugee camps and the long-term difficulties and implications faced by refugees in respective countries such as Lebanon, Syria, and Jordan, one question arises in our minds. What further actions should be taken by the international community to protect and transmit the rights and cultural identity of refugees to new generations, and also, to improve their social or economic conditions?
Well, this is the role of local community. I think local community should be aware that social identity is always constructed. What I mean by that is always constructed. It means that you need to feed it. It's not by essence. Okay. So I look to my kids. If I don't give them to read about Palestinian problems, they will at certain point become like Lebanese, or that their knowledge on Palestinian issue is minimal. So our duty to keep this cultural flame of cultural heritage Palestinian is very important, to keep the political discourse about the right of return is very important. But in my work, for instance, I complain at a certain point that a lot of Palestinian factions, they keep talking about right of return, but they don't talk about civil rights for Palestinian refugees. You know, now we have 4 generations. I mean, so imagine that after 4 generations, that the Palestinians still, they don't have a basic civil rights in Lebanon. And again, I'm not talking about nationality, but I do understand where people look individually to nationality, but at least I'm talking about what I call it in my presentation, social citizenship. You need a social citizenship, not a political citizenship. It means that it's like myself, when I went to France, I was I have a residency for 1 year, but they treat me like any French in terms of social services. It means that I have access to medical health. I have access to I was married with 1 kid, so I am eligible of some help because my scholarship was not important. This kind of social citizenship is very important, and I disagree with all. I mean, I do remember the last meeting in Istanbul. It was organized by Jusur, I think, organization. And I have a heavy discussion, heated discussion with Munir Shafiq, where he say, no, it's only about right of return. For instance, I supposed to be one of the organizer of what's called the first meeting was in Istanbul. It was the Palestinian Conference Abroad, something like that. Okay, so it was organized by some organizations, and they asked me to be part of the organizing committee. So I accepted. So when I saw the first draft of the statement, I said we need to combine right of return with civil rights, and say no, we will. I said, look, I mean, you can put it not in the same level, etc. I said no. We will not mention this. So I withdraw. So I think there is a problem. There is a kind of a fear that any discourse on civil rights, socioeconomic rights of the Palestinian refugees, it will be at the expense of the right of return. It's really
sorry to interrupt, because we had a question related to what you have been saying, but I want to change it a bit. So so what do you think about the idea of return? I mean, if the Palestinian refugees in Syria, Jordan, Lebanon, even in Turkey, are granted like equal rights, don't you think that they will somehow become part of that society and losing, or indeed becoming indifferent to the idea of, returning to the homeland? So, okay, I mean, social citizenship, it makes perfect sense, but like how to transmit the idea of return to the coming generations. So how do you think Palestinians make a balanced approach?
Yusuf, there is 2-3 things I should say. First, if you compare the situation of the political agenda of the Palestinian of Syria and Palestinian of Jordan from one side. Palestinian of Jordan, just to remind, they have nationality, Jordanian nationality. Palestinian of Syria, we have a funny ID, refugee ID. It's called temporary ID for unlimited period. So temporariness, which lasts forever. Okay, so it's fine. I mean, we were happy. I mean, we go once in our life to issue this. In Lebanon, I mean, the Palestinian should every 3 years go and renew this this ID. So you have, again, you have a Syrian and a Jordanian Palestinian refugee, and you have Lebanese one where you don't have any rights. I mean, who is best patriotic? Is it the Palestinian of Lebanon or Syria or Jordanian? It's nonsensical questions. I think really the Palestinian in Jordan, we know how they are really very nationalist, Palestinian nationalists. Palestinian of Syria, although they have some rights. So I think pitting the socioeconomic rights against a right of return is sociologically is not really important. It doesn't have much meaning. This is my first point. The second point, there is a difference between the right of return. It means that I have the right to return. This is because really this is the sense of justice. For me, I lost my property in Haifa for family property, and I lived in a refugee camp, sometimes in a slummy refugee camp. So the basic sense of justice is a right of return. Now, if I talk sociologically, and this is a study I did many years ago, looking to the UNHCR data, wherever you have the right of return for refugees, for instance, the case of Bosnia, okay, the case of Bosnia, you have a Dayton agreement allow not only return of Bosnian refugees, but also restitution of their properties and homeland. What happened? You have, in the first 10 years after a Dayton Agreement, in 1993 Dayton Agreement, you have 17% of Bosniak returned to Bosnia. What happened to the others? The other were working in Germany and happily see that Germany, I mean, they have a work. They felt that they have some rights, even as a refugees, as a Gestaltarbeit, as a foreign worker. So they stay. So the same thing. I study Afghan who were in not only in Europe, but Afghan who were in Pakistan. After allowing these refugees to return home, there is a small percentage who return. So if you like, I am not compromising the right of return. No one should misunderstand me. But just to say that sociologically, refugees, after protracted period of staying somewhere, they tend to not to return. So in any case, this for no reason to temper our eagerness to ask for right of return. Okay? So, but just, I wanted to say, this is why we need the discourse with a double mission. mission to enhance our right of return and enhance our situation, socioeconomic situation or right status in the host countries.
Okay, thank you very much. So basically you're being realistic because I have been writing articles about Syrian refugees in Turkey for years, and although the xenophobic or anti-Syrian sentiments have been increasing recently in Turkey, uh, most of the Syrians that I speak to say they don't really have any hope to go back to their homeland because they have already got settled here. Their children speak Turkish, and so I understand the idea that the idea of return is something that exists over there, but and then you have the realities on the ground. So if we go back to the practical size of the refugee camps. We have a question, which is, I think, interesting. It says, so there are refugee camps in Syria, Jordan, Gaza, Lebanon. Um, is there any platform among these camp authorities? Like, are they in contact with each other, or are they completely separated from each other?
The PLO, Palestinian Liberation Organization, they have, if you like, a directorate of Palestinian refugees, and that they connect, they meet. As I said, PLO still paying. I know in Lebanon, for instance, that they still paying the popular committees, even a small sum, but nevertheless, it is very important. This is so yes, you have an umbrella, if you like, to deal with that. In Syria, the same thing. You have an authority, AGAB, it's called AGABAR. It's Arab Refugee, Palestinian Refugee Directorate, something like that, which is under Ba'ath Party. It's very interesting. It's a kind of a nationalistic agenda of Ba'ath Party, and very connected to Ba'ath Party. And really, they treated the Palestinian in a human way, I would say. So you have, so PLO cannot involve in camp governance in Syria, neither in Jordan, but they can have a say in Gaza, West Bank, and Lebanon.
Okay, thank you. And so we have a question directly about Lebanon. It says, what are the Lebanese government's policies towards the refugee camps? What is the main approach? And do you observe any positive or negative change over time?
This is my whole talk to say it's the change is a peanuts. Even I play a role myself to create LBDC, Palestinian Lebanese, Lebanese Palestinian Dialogue Committee. But this committee is supposed to really to solve the problem, the problem of living condition of Palestinian refugees, and this dialogue committee become what I call monologue committee, monologue, not dialogue. It's Lebanese the monologue committee. So unfortunately, the changes in refugee camps in the last, if you like, since I came to Lebanon in 2005, they didn't change. I mean, very little things, really, very, very little things. And I think this is why the poverty rate in the camps, the abject poverty, is a huge. This if you like, encourage some young Palestinian to go to the radical organizations and and really it become aggravates the situation of Palestinian refugee camps. I mean, for me, nothing will change without three things, major things: right to work, right to own property, still absent in Lebanon, and the third is recognizing a popular committees, elected popular committees. It means that you create a kind of a municipal power that resolve the huge problems, urban problems of refugee camps. Without having this three resolve this three problem, you will definitely not have any chance of resolving of talking about any improvement in Palestinian refugee camps in Lebanon.
Okay, thank you very much. And we have one last question. So it asks about how the Palestinian refugee camps impact the relations with Israel of that particular country. So we know that, I mean, like Syria was in trouble with Israel for a long time, and Lebanon has the Hezbollah, but I think Jordan is particularly important at this point, right? Especially after the Abraham Accords thing. So do you think, I mean, Israel is particularly interested in what is going on in these refugee camps or their positions, or does Israel make any pressure to these countries about the refugee camps? What do you think?
Well, I think, look, uh, sometimes, I mean, I become cynical as a researcher. One of my cynicism is to say Israel created Palestinian refugee problem, and the Arab countries perpetrated. So if you like, I don't think that Israel has it's a reason why Palestinian Refugee Committee are as they are today. Okay, misery places, at least in Lebanon. So but what I want to say that of course these camps, the fact that you have this gathering of Palestinian refugees, talk about Yarmouk camp as a big refugee camp, talk about Al-Baqa in Amman, talking about Ain al-Hilwi in Saida. These, of course, the fact that the Palestinian refugee camps are there, that it's mobilized Palestinian quickly. But however, you should know that we can imagine refugee camps as a space of political mobilization, but not necessarily with the misery. Why you want this misery to keep? Look, it looks like some political commissar, they think that refugee camps become like a mausoleum or a museum of misery that convince donors to keep giving, to say there is a refugee problem. So my reply to say no need for that. I mean, I think Palestinian refugee camps in Syria and Jordan attract so many donors without this, because in these two countries, the camps is not a misery camp, as the case of Lebanon. Okay, so this is, if you like, my argument that the presence of a misery refugee camps is a problem, big problem for Palestinian refugees, whether this serve Israel or not. You know, before 7 October, Shatila camps have not Shatila, sorry, Ain al-Hilwi camps has a huge problems inside between two factions. Okay, radical Islamist group and Fatah group. So I'm not sure there is a relation between Israel and the current misery of refugee camps in Lebanon. This is, if you like, my and not in bottom line how I formate the problem.
Okay, thank you very much. So we have learned a lot, especially how the things are handled within the refugee camps. So everybody talks about those refugee camps, and everybody knows that they are over there. But unless you go and you visit those camps, you don't understand really what they look like, because I think people still imagine them like the tents and some very basic places, but indeed they're like towns with their own infrastructure and everything, and with their own problems. I don't want to say miseries because you don't like that word, but with all the political, economic, and social problems that continue up to today, unfortunately. And as you have pointed out, uh, you know, unless the governments in those countries agree to make fundamental policy changes, there is not much hope to, find the solutions in those camps. So thank you again very much, and listening.